Have you guys seen this? Nano tattoos. Mark of the beast. What do you guys think? So nano tattoos are making its way into the mainstream, I guess you can say. And a lot of people are thinking that this might have something to do with the mark of the beast, because the nano tattoos, it's electrical, and you don't need batteries for it, and it's not like a chip. So a lot of people thought back then that chips were the mark of the beast, that you insert a chip within your hand or your forehead or whatever the case may be. But now they have something new. It's called the nano tattoos, where you tattoo electronics onto your skin, and that you don't need batteries for it, because I guess your skin or your body somehow powers the tattoo. And so this was from a suggested article from one of our sisters in the SFP swordsmith community. And by the way, if you guys are not yet part of our SFP swordsmith community, you guys can become part of our SFP swordsmith community. Go to sfpswordsmith.com. Once you guys get there, you guys can log in as a current member, or you guys can sign up as a free member to join our community, or you guys can sign up as a monthly supporter and become a swordsmith, and you guys will be able to unlock these swordsmith courses. Once you guys get there, jump to suggestions if you guys want to suggest anything that you want me to talk about. And here, this is something that caught my attention. New nano tattoos don't need batteries or wires. While it has biosensor potential, the link could be sprayed on almost anything. Could be sprayed on. So I went to the article, and this is what the article has to say. Okay, new nano tattoos don't need batteries or wires. While it has biosensor potential, I think that means the sensor, when you sensor the thing or whatever, the ink could be sprayed on almost anything. So this is, I don't think that's what it looks like. Oh, it's like so it's not really a I don't know. How does that work? Researchers have found a way to create nano tattoos that can possibly or passively send data using a technique similar to the RFID tags, overcoming a long-standing hurdle for the technology. Does this have something to do with the mark of the beast? Now, you guys already know what I believe about the mark of the beast. You guys already know what I believe about the mark of the beast, and we've done plenty Bible studies on it. We even have 2 documentaries on not particularly the mark of the beast, but we do mention the mark of the beast. And so in order for you guys to really know what the mark of the beast is, and I think a lot of people miss this. They think mark of the beast, let's try to figure that out. But they don't actually, study it out and see what the Bible has to say about what the mark of the beast is. In order for us to know what the mark of the beast is, first, we have to be logical about it, right? We have to first know who the beast exactly is, so that we can know what the mark of the beast is. Because if we're going to go and dive into this mark of the beast without knowing who the beast is first, it's kind of like looking for an animal's footprint without knowing what animal without looking at what animal we're mentioning here. If we don't know what animal, then we're not going to be able to identify the footprint of that animal, right? So we got to know what the animal is first. Then we can identify the footprint, because if you just look at the footprint, you're just looking at the footprint. You don't know if this is the footprint of this animal or that animal. You got to first identify who the beast is. Then you can identify its mark. Okay, and so we have 2 movies on that, From Babylon to America and From America to Babylon. The links are in the description box below if you guys want to learn more about the mark of the beast, who the beast is, who the Antichrist is, why on the forehead, why the right hand, and all these things. Those 2 movies will give you all the answers to those questions. And so here we are. It says here, researchers at 2 institutions in Istanbul have created nano tattoos capable of passive wireless communications with nearby devices without the need of external power sources such as batteries. Now, this is, yes, it's futuristic. It's kind of cool. You know what I mean? It's kind of cool, but I wouldn't trust it. I wouldn't put anything on my body that are foreign. The advanced The advance could lead to numerous biosensing technologies that have up until now been stymied. I don't know what that means. By relying on bulky external power sources. Yeah, everybody wants to simplify everything. Or wired communications. The backscattering based nano tattoo sensor BNTS tattoos were developed by Kristen D. Belcastro, and everybody's gonna say, watch. Once people know about this whole nano tattoo, everyone is gonna say Kristen D. Belcastro is the beast, is the Antichrist. Everybody's going to say that without looking at what the Bible actually says. A lecturer of Yeditepe University in Istanbul and Onur Ergin, the vice chair of research and development at the Istanbul Technical University's Department of Electronics and Communication, that tattoos are composed of two inks, a zinc oxide ink containing embedded nanowires atop a graphene or aerogel conductive ink. I'm not putting that, whatever that is, in my body. We got to keep our bodies clean. The two inks are painted onto the skin in simultaneously onto the skin simultaneously via separate needles. So it's painted on. It's not. I don't know. Urgin says that there is also some aerogel in the ink containing the nanowires, though at a lower ratio than in the lower layer, and as a result, the two inks bond on contact. Sounds sketchy to me. The device's wireless communications rely on the creation of electrical signals from piezoelectric activity, made possible as the tattoos change shape, which converts mechanical energy into electrical energy. The tattoo's wireless networking infrastructure uses a smartphone to bounce signal off the tattoo and receive data with a broadband modem as a helper device. So you become a device, pretty much. In the researchers' work recently published in IEEE Electronic Device Letters, the system analyzed range of motion. However, Urgin said there are many more use cases they are exploring. So you can, I don't know. I don't trust this. You guys already know what I believe about the mark of the beast. I believe that the mark of the beast is a spiritual thing, and we can look at that in a little bit. But I mean, it's possible that there might be a physical component to it. Could this be it? I don't know. Now, remember, tattoos can be anywhere. It can be on the shoulder. There's some people that believed that the microchip or the RFID was the mark of the beast. But if we're gonna follow the Bible completely and consistently, it says that the mark of the beast is either going to be on the forehead or the right hand. Some of those chips are not on the forehead or the right hand. Sometimes they're on the left hand. Sometimes they're somewhere else in the body part, on the wrist or whatever. And so we then can cancel that out. We can cancel out the RFID, because then it's not really the right hand or the forehead. No one's getting it in the forehead. I don't think I've seen anybody getting these microchips on the forehead. I've seen in the back of the neck and things like that, all the microchip or some sort of barcode tattoo or whatever. I've seen that, but I don't think I've ever seen the microchips being on the forehead. And so we can rule that out then. We can rule out the microchip. Not only is it not biblical, it's all speculation. So we got to remember, we got to base everything on what the Bible says. So if we want to base everything on what the Bible says, then let's go to the Bible. Let's go to the Bible real quick. Is this mark a physical mark, or is it a spiritual mark? Now, a lot of people don't like to do this, but let's do it. Revelation 1 verse 1, the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John. Now the word signified means to signify. It means that it's symbolic. The word signify means that it's symbolic. He signified it. The angel signified it. So if that means that it's symbolic, that means then this book is written symbolically and thematically. You can also tell that it's also written thematically and symbolically. If you go to the book of Revelation, chapter 13, you're not actually looking for an actual beast with 7 heads and 10 horns and 10 crowns upon his horns. We're not looking for a literal beast, right? We're not looking for a literal beast with 2 horns that speaks like a dragon, because literal beasts don't speak. And so that's how we can tell that this is a symbolic thing. These are symbolic entities, symbolic figures. We can go to Revelation 17. We're not actually looking for a woman that's on that scarlet colored beast with the name or the words Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth, tattooed on her forehead. So this is symbolic. We can't say that we're looking for literal people here. There's even a verse in the book of Revelation that talks about locusts with the heads of men. This is symbolic. So this is all in the backdrop of the Old Testament and some in the New Testament as well. So when it talks about the mark of the beast, let's go to Revelation 13 real quick. The mark of the beast, only one time is it connected to buying and selling. Now, they can use the nano tattoos and things like that and RFIDs to enforce certain things, these things to happen, because you can't buy and sell without these microchips and money and things like that. But the buying and selling connected to the mark of the beast is only mentioned one time in Revelation 13 verse 17. It's only literally mentioned one time. There's spiritual, there's a spiritual aspect to this. You can look at that in Revelation 3 when Jesus Christ says, "Buy of me gold tried in the fire." He's not actually telling you to give him money, right? He's telling you to buy of. That means there is a transaction going on. And what is that transaction? Give up your will. Now, you guys can study this further. But what he's saying in Revelation 3, when he says, "Buy of me gold tried in the fire," that gold is his faith, as Peter mentions in his books. That gold is his faith that is tried by fire. Okay? And when he says, "Buy of me," that means there's a transaction going on. Give up your will so that you can have my will. That's really what it means. And I have a study on that. I might link the study in the description box. But when it says here that there's no man might buy or sell, that could mean 2 things. It could be a literal thing, which I do believe that it's going to be a literal thing. It's also a spiritual thing. It's also a spiritual point of view as well. And we can talk about that another day. We don't have time to talk about that. But when it comes to the mark of the beast, only one time in the book of Revelation is it connected to buying and selling. The mark of the beast, for the most part, is connected to worship. Look what it says. Revelation 13, verse 17. And actually, we can go to... Okay, so this is talking about the second beast. We can go all the way from verse 14. And he, actually verse 13, "And he doeth great wonders," talking about the second beast, "so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men." That's loaded. We don't have time to talk about that right now. "And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast." Again, another loaded statement there that we can't really talk about right now, because then it'll take us hours. "Saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. He had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause," that means to enforce, "that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed." Okay? Worship. So, by the way, from the very beginning of the rebellion. Remember, in Revelation 12, it says that Satan rebelled, made war with God, made war with Michael the archangel, and the whole theme of the war is about worship. You guys can look at it, look at the whole story in Revelation 12. Not only is it in Revelation 12, you guys can look at hints of what happened in Isaiah 14 and Ezekiel 28. It's all about worship. Remember, Satan said, I will ascend, I will be like the Most High. I will put my throne above the stars of the north, above the stars of heaven, the angels of God. He wants worship. He wants to be worshipped. So the whole controversy is about worship. The whole controversy is about worship. Who do you worship? Who do you worship? That's what the whole controversy is truly about. It's not really about buying and selling. Satan is not gonna from the very beginning, from Genesis all the way to the book of Jude, want worship, and then all of a sudden, at this point in time, in Revelation 13 verse 17, let's change the whole thing. I don't want worship no more. I just want people to buy and sell with my mark. No, it's about worship. It's always been about worship. Okay. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed, and causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark. So a mark is something that is on you to let people know who you belong to. Okay. It's a signet. It's an indicator. It's an identifier. Who do you belong to? It's an identifier. Okay, it's a mark. When you let's say, I don't know, for those of you guys who do this, for those of you guys who probably have brothers. I don't have brothers. I only have 2 sisters. But for those of you guys who have brothers, you guys probably write your name on your underwear so your brothers don't take it, right? And use it. And some sisters probably do that too. They write their name or whatever. But the name indicates ownership. That mark on your underwear indicates ownership. Who does this belong to? So that is what that mark is. That is also what the seal of God is. The seal of God is there indicating who that person belongs to. So if you have the seal of God on your forehead, you have the Father's name on your forehead indicating who you belong to. Okay, so the mark is not, yes, the mark has something to do with buying and selling, but the mark truly is about worship. Who do you belong to? Who do you worship? Okay, and so again, it says it's connected to worship. Okay, you guys can see it's connected to worship. Now let's take a look. I think there's 4 more verses where it connects the mark of the beast with worship. I think there's 4 more verses. Revelation 14 and verse 9. And this is the third angel. The third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead. So again, that mark is connected to worship. In verse 11 says, the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. So the worship of the beast is the thing that identifies if you have the mark or not. The mark identifies who you worship, and vice versa. If you worship the beast, you get the mark. You receive the mark. If you receive the mark, that means you worship the beast, and vice versa, right? And so that's it's all dependent on who you worship. So yes, it does have something to do with buying and selling, and the nano tattoos and things like that, and the RFIDs. It could play a part. It could play a part, but the RFIDs and the nano tattoos themselves are not the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast has something to do with worship. It has something to do with worship. And so for those of you guys who are wondering what now is the mark of the beast, you guys can, again, go down in the description box. We have 2 movies from Babylon to America and from America to Babylon. It explains to you, first of all, it kind of lays the foundation for you so that you can know what truly is the mark of the beast, so that you can avoid it in the future. It lays down the foundation, because you cannot know what the mark of the beast is if you don't know who the beast is. You got to know who the beast is first, and then you can know what the mark is, because it's the mark of the beast. It's the beast's mark. Just want to take this time now to thank everybody who's been supporting this ministry via PayPal. I just want to say thank you to our sister Valerie. I want to say thank you to Daniel, to Stephen, and to Adrian. Thank you guys so much for your contribution for this ministry. It does help us keep this ministry afloat. And so for those of you guys who want to support this ministry, you guys can do so by praying for this ministry. Very important. Please pray for this ministry, and also donating at schoolforprophets.tv. The link is in the description box via PayPal. Again, the link is in the description box. Or you guys can also support a different way. You guys can donate this way by purchasing one of these, Revelation verse by verse. If you guys are having trouble with the book of Revelation, this book is the book for you. It's a daily devotional. It goes through the book of Revelation verse by verse. Links for these are also in the description box below. Or you guys can also purchase some hats, some t-shirts, and things like that at sfpmerch.shop. Links for that is also in the description box below. And it does help us keep this ministry afloat. It does help us with upcoming documentaries and things like that. So thank you guys for the support. We truly do appreciate it. And I think that's it. I think that's all for today. Praise God always. See you guys on the next one. Peace. Avocado grease. Shout out to Sister Peggy.
We cannot afford to let the critical goal of limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius slip out of our reach.
And those impacts are getting worse and could potentially be irreversible.
The debate over pre-trib, mid-trib, and post-trib is quite a debate. You know, some people think they're pre-trib. They believe Jesus is coming before the tribulation, or he's coming in the middle of the tribulation, or he's coming at the end of the tribulation.
We don't know for sure when Jesus will return, but God does give us several signs, several markers that we know that the end will be near. Many of those are seen in Matthew 24. We have things like wars, rumors of wars, pestilences, and earthquakes, and all these events.
You know, there are a lot of dear Christians that are mixed up regarding the events, the chronology of the coming of the Lord. All Christians agree there's going to be a tribulation. You can't escape where Jesus says in Matthew 24, there's a time of trouble such as there never has been coming. Jesus is actually quoting Daniel chapter 12, where Daniel says in chapter 12, at that time Michael will stand up, the great prince that stands for the children of thy people, and there will be a time of trouble such as there never has been, even unto that same time. So they all agree there is this great tribulation that you read about.
As you look at all the passages regarding the second coming, you realize these are things that you're going to be able to see. Every eye shall see him. The elements are melting with fervent heat. I don't know if you've ever been in a sauna. It gets past 120, 130, you begin to feel it. And I don't know exactly what temperature elements begin to burn up, but I'm sure it's going to be quite hot. And so that's not something that you could sort of ignore.
The Bible is clear that we are going to hear Jesus come back with a great sound of a trumpet. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, beginning in verse 16, the Bible actually says, for the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout. He's coming back shouting with the voice of the archangel and with the trumpet of God. So again, you don't see that in many of the ideology and the teachings of today in modern Christianity. Most of them teach it's a secret silent event. But the Bible says when Jesus Christ comes back, he's going to be shouting in all of his power and glory. He's going to be excited to see his bride, whom he has been separated from for so long.